Hey there everyone, Dr. Beth Westy here, and tonight I want to talk about chronic fatigue and something called the HPA-axis. I'm way too excited about doing this video because look at all the nerdy stuff I wrote down. Okay, so as I was writing this, I was like, is this too much? Am I going too far? And I'm gonna let you tell me if I'm going too far, okay? This is a piece of information that I hope is really helpful, and I'm going to talk about a lot of these things in relation to stories. So something that you can probably relate to then and understand in a better way. And a lot of the women that I work with and have worked with in the past, and some of the things that they've noticed, experienced, and struggled with when they have had issues with their cortisol, with fatigue, things like that. A lot of times women are told, oh, fatigue, you're fine, right? And women are like, no, I drink like a pot of coffee a day just to keep going. Or I get home at night and if I sit down, I fall asleep. I can't even get going. Like I can't function. Or there gets to be a point in the day where I just completely crash. What the heck is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? I'm so tired that I want to lose weight. I want to go to the gym, but I can't get there. And if I force myself to go to the gym, I get so run down. I am sore for days. It takes me forever to recover, right? And for some of these things that I'm going to go through, I'm really focusing on the hormone cortisol right now, but I also want you to realize that if your system is really stressed, that this can also throw off your cycle. This can also throw off your female hormones. So be aware of that. Be aware of how your system is doing through this time, through this, time in history that we're living through, and what your body's doing and how to care for yourself. How to really focus on what's happening for you. So this is what I teach women how to do, how to eat for their hormones, how to align their food with their cycle, with their body to get and keep a better result. If you want more info on that, I have my YouTube channel, which is just Dr. Beth Westy. You can subscribe to and stay updated on all the videos that I do about all of that. My book, The Female Fat Solution, takes you through that as well. This is on Amazon and lots of other resources. But I really want to focus on the stress piece of this and really get through how this impacts, how this works, and then the stress graph here, right? This is a stress graph, not like the normal graphs that I draw or anything. Oh, thanks, Veronica. She's calling me Princess Leia. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I put on my Instagram guessing if it was a new hairstyle or if I was just trying to cover up greasy hair. It's greasy hair. It's so true. I'm always gonna be totally transparent. I was taking a very lovely Epsom salt bath last night. When all the kids were in bed, I was like, I'm gonna relax. This is so great. Have some me time at the end of the day. And one of my children could not sleep, just couldn't calm herself down. I literally have to wait. I had to wait, and I had to get out of the bath. I didn't even get to wash my hair last night. Didn't even get to wash my dang hair because she just was not going to bed. Mom. And I was like, this defeats the purpose of the Epsom salt relaxation bath. I guess I'm going to get up and sit with her on the couch. We snuggled in a blanket. I had her lay there, meditation music, breathing, all the things. Finally got her to sleep. And I left her on the couch because I was like, I'm not going to move her and risk waking her up again. So greasy hair. Long story longer. Okay. Back to HPA-axis. Okay. So when we look at this and look at what this is in the body, the one thing I want you to realize is that how do you test for this? How do you know if this is a thing or how these things go? And great question. Dutch test, right? This is why I love Dutch test so much. Love it so much. I'm going to try and snuggle it. This is, roughly the same depiction of what's happening here, but Dutch actually breaks down the cortisols, not just in your saliva, but also in the cortisol metabolites, which lets me know how well are your adrenals working or how well are they not working, more like it, right? Which I'll talk about more in just a minute. But as we look at this, here's how this flow pattern goes, because it's clearly a flow pattern. So stress will impact your brain. So your hypothalamus, part of your brain, pituitary gland in your brain, like right in there, right? And then your adrenal glands, tiny little dudes that sit on top of your kidneys. There, right there. Very accurate here. So brain, kidney. And they all communicate with each other, okay? Tara was supposed to get her hair cut today. Oh, yeah. Growing it out. Everybody's growing their hair out right now. So hypothalamus and pituitary, they communicate, right? And the hypothalamus is really the one that tells the pituitary to tell the adrenal. And you might be thinking, like, why is there all this? Why is there this trickle-down effect? Why can't one thing just be like, hey, make this, make the thing? I don't know that I know the exact answer of why it is. This is what it is. The hypothalamus tells the pituitary to tell the adrenal. Hey, we need more cortisol. How does it know it needs more cortisol? Stress of any kind, So stress I like to divide it into 3 categories of thoughts, toxins, or trauma. So thoughts, anything that you're thinking, past, present, or future, will impact your brain the same way. Meaning if you are thinking about a past worry, past thing that happened that you're thinking of up here, it can affect your body system the same way as a current stressor. The thought that's stressful. Thoughts do not differentiate between past, present, or future. So for a lot of us right now, and especially for people, in the stress that we're in the world, and if you are somebody who has a history of stress or trauma, hi Kiki, a history of stress or trauma, having this extra stress in your life right now can trigger that same stress response because of the thought pattern that you already have there, right? It's like a well-paved path, right? Very well-paved path. Super easy to go down that same path when that thought pattern of stress is already there. Toxins, this can be, and I've listed out a few common ones here that I've been talking to people about recently. This is anything in the environment, chemicals that you're eating, that you're around, that are in the environment. Never-ending list almost in our world today of toxins. And then trauma. Physical trauma, sitting too much, not getting enough exercise, terrible posture. Yeah, bad posture is trauma on your body. Yeah. Yes. So in stressors, a lot of people right now are noticing, oh, my gut is terrible. I am stressed having to homeschool. Yeah. Homeschooling your kids. But having your gut health be off right now. You might not be eating the same way that you did before. And some of you might be like, I'm eating way better. Super duper. But some people are like, well, I'm not getting out as much. I'm not getting as much fresh food. The food isn't available for me. My gut is off. And stress in general too can make your gut be off from what it normally is. But that is a big stressor. Stress impact. Sleep. Having your sleep be disrupted. Having the sleep pattern be off. Really big stressor. Because again, sometimes for some of us, our lives are turned upside down. So sleep is very off. Blue light, for people who are at home now, working on computers all day, we're extending the time on our screens. We're extending the time that we're, oh my gosh, not only am I doing all my work on my computer, but I'm watching all this stuff on the computer and, right? Yeah, stress, right? And then on top of that, your blood sugars go up and down. Up and down. You're craving more sugars. You're craving more carbs because of the stress. It's this huge stress monster that's like, give me all the carbs. Right? Adding to the stress more, right? You're like, I'm stressed, so I need the carbs. But then you get more carbs than you normally have. And then that adds to the stress, which then you need more carbs. What? Get me off this Ferris wheel. So these are all stressors right now that a lot of women have. And again, homeschooling, there's other things in here that people are having that triggers the hypothalamus. The stress triggers the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus says, bing, there we go, pituitary, relay the message, bing, adrenals, do your thing, buddy. Boom, cortisol, here we go, right? HPA-axis, how they all work together, how they're all friends. Now, once the cortisol gets made, created, all that stuff, there's a couple of ways that we look at it. Now, in the Dutch test, and why I love the Dutch test, is that they take a salivary sample, and a lot of people will get a salivary or blood sample of cortisol, and that's only 1 to maybe 3% of the total cortisol in your system. Yes. So there are cases where people are like, well, my saliva cortisol was normal, but I still feel like I have all these cortisol issues, the adrenal issues. Why is that? What the heck? That doesn't seem right. My test result, well, that was only 1 to 3% of the total that gets produced that's in the saliva. When we look at the Dutch test, right? See, this is the circulating free that we're looking at here, but we also look at the cortisol metabolism. So for this example that's on this page, and there are many different variations that I go through, but you're seeing, look at these cortisol patterns that are really low. Look at these dials. So this is the free cortisol, really low, the stuff that's in your spit, and then the stuff that's in your urine, look how high that is. Yikes, right? That's a problem. The person who has these types of things is going to feel very fatigued. Very, very fatigued, right? So what that means is that how well is this being processed through the body? How much cortisol is being put out, and then how much is that being actually used through the system, right? So there's a difference in this. Okay, I could talk about this for a really long time. This is, again, these are women who feel like you have these being off, this whole thing being, and they call that HPA-axis dysfunction. HPA-axis dysfunction. And women, this is where you feel fatigued. You feel completely exhausted. You feel like you can't get up in the morning. It takes you an hour. You feel like a zombie in the morning. You wake up and you're like, I can't. I need like a pot of coffee to even get my brain started. What's going on, right? Yeah. And we also look at the patterning of it too, of where your cortisol levels start and how they go throughout the day. That matters. It does. It matters. So keep that in mind. So this is, again, I want to give you the overall impression here, so I'm trying to not get too down a rabbit hole, but so these things, when you're measuring them, it's important to measure both what's in your spit and what's in your urine, right? And then really making sure that your body's responding to the correct input-output here. So what happens then with the cortisol, and this is what's called a negative feedback system, and a lot of our endocrine system, a lot of our hormones in our body are like this. The stress triggers, boom, 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 do your thing, do your thing, do your thing. Cortisol is put out. Now once the cortisol gets to a certain level, it's supposed to have a negative feedback of, oh, look, I've got enough, so I'm going to tell the hypothalamus and pituitary, we're good. We're good. We've got enough, right? We don't need more. We don't need more. No more. Stop, stop, stop. If this stressor continues and this negative feedback does not happen, right, your body will continue to pump out more and more cortisol. But at some point, when people call it adrenal fatigue, I mean, your adrenals can get exhausted doing that, right? And then your body, your system and body, your liver processes this, your kidneys process this as well. Your liver does a lot for you. And your liver is doing a lot for you right now, right? With all the stress in the world. So if the liver and everything else doesn't process it out, that also affects this negative feedback. So there's supposed to be a shut-off valve, right? To say, we're good, turn it off. But if that doesn't happen, it won't turn off that output. Now, how does this look when we look at that shutdown and output, right? So here's where you're at. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Here's on the stress scale. Oh, look, a stressor came and I'm reacting to this stress, right? Here's the stressor point here. Yikes. So cortisol gets put out. Here we go. Okay, this is a high level of cortisol, right? You've got this high acute stress point here, right here. And you're like, okay, I'm going to deal with this. Negative feedback. Tone it down, buddy. We're good. So it's like, okay, it's good. And then it comes down, right? That's the normal response. What happens when you are under chronic stress? And for a lot of us, if you are if you are having a hard time right now, if you are in a tough place where you feel like you are stressed from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, you are starting a chronic stress pattern in your body. Yeah. And that just keeps going, And this is more of like a metaphor of how this will go in your system. But essentially, your body does not react and is not able to keep up that production at the same rate. And again, with the other, liver, kidneys, this other outflow of this, where this goes, essentially your system gets to be like, nope, tank. And then it just can't pick up from there. It has a hard time picking up from there. So this is where, again, a lot of women will feel like I can get up in the morning, but as soon as 3 o'clock hits, I get real tired. And then if I sit down, I fall asleep on the couch. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm working out and I'm trying to push my body, but I feel like I'm not even building muscle anymore. And I get so fatigued and I'm sore for days. I am sore for days afterwards. What the heck is wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. Your system's just having a really hard time repairing. It's having a hard time coming back because so much of this, and especially if you've been exposed to a lot of stress for a long period of time, it has a really negative effect all the way downstream, right? So it's not just one thing usually, right? It'd be so great if it was one thing and be like, oh, I'll just fix that one thing, right? But a lot of women have lots of fires to put out, lots of things going on. So it's hard to just say, oh, fix this and everything's going to be fine. It's more common to, okay, I got to really work on getting my sleep routine down. I got to really work on getting enough protein in and fueling my body efficiently. I got to really get enough adaptogens, and I have to time them correctly. So when I work with women, and if you are interested in getting this taken care of, especially if you're like, I can't handle this anymore, I need help, there is a link for you to fill out an application to work with me in a one-on-one setting. But if you're, and I have women do this Dutch test because I will have to tell you, take these herbs at this time to help your system react and respond better because your patterning is off. It's really important that you're really aligning with what your body needs to help it react in a better fashion. It's like an avalanche. Once this avalanche starts, once you start going downhill, it's not like you can just get it back on its own, doing the same regular things. Eating a healthy, having a healthy diet, getting healthy nutrition in, good, it's not enough oftentimes on its own. Getting enough, I should get enough sleep. It's like 6 or 7 hours, that's fine. That might not be enough for you. Your system is going to need to repair on a neurological level while you're sleeping. So I will have women track that. It's really important that you're tracking the type of sleep that you're getting. Hours is not enough. Yeah. Supplementation, making sure your liver is functioning well, also very key, very, very key to making sure your system and your body turns around. Again, just taking a multivitamin is often not enough. And then to realize you have to give your body time. There are some women who will experience a traumatic time and they might not notice an adrenal crash till a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later. If your body goes unchecked, unmonitored, right? You don't know what's happening for, you're like, well, I'm still eating healthy. I'm okay. It can be 5 years later and then you'll have this adrenal crash. Yeah. That 5 years, that amount of time later. So you're probably thinking, so if I don't do the best things for my body in dealing with the stress that I have right now, I could be having the effects 3 to 5 years from now. Yeah, if this is a chronic stress situation for you. Yeah. Yep. And I honestly believe the more you know, the more you can do to help not only manage your stress now, to really focus on the things that you can change. Sleep, right? Getting good nutrition in, enough protein, working with your hormones in your body, all that other stuff. Take charge of it now so it doesn't impact you later. But if you're like, this is me right now, holy crap, let me turn this ship around. Yeah. Yeah. I often start with the Dutch test and then we go from there because it tells me so much more information about what's happening through these step-by-step processes in your body. Yeah. So this was a lot. This was a lot. I hope this kind of makes sense, right? Of how things get started and go through the body and how it's supposed to stop. But again, humans, we're so special, right? Other animals, other beings on the planet, they have an automatic on-off switch. Like a deer in the woods hears a noise and they're like, oh, danger. Their cortisol response goes up to help them run away and keep safe, right? But you see them 5 minutes later and they're like munching on something, totally fine, hanging out, because their cortisol switch has turned off. Humans don't have a switch. This is, like a dimmer. And sometimes the body does not move it. It's like you forget to shift and change it. Yeah, that's because our thought pattern often can bring up any thought from the past, present, or future, can keep that stress response going, keep you in chronic stress, and that over a longer period of time. So for those of you who are like, well, I've had stress, I've been under stress, that's okay, I was managing it. But now this added stress of the world on your system can be the thing that tips it over the edge here. And you're like, okay, yeah, I feel like garbage. I don't feel good. My gut is not working properly. I'm getting more tired. I'm sleeping way more. Is that okay? Some women I have talked to, they actually are noticing adrenaline surges and crashes. Like they'll get all revved up and like shaky and like, oh, what? Heart beating fast. And then they come down from it and then they're like, oh, bleh. Yeah, I don't feel good. Lord, right? And it's the same thing. Like if you've ever been like in a car accident, your body does that. It has this adrenaline rush and crash. So for some people right now, their body's reacting to a lot of the things going on in a more severe way, just because that's how your system is perceiving it. And again, it's not right. It's not wrong. I just want you to be aware of and kind of shift from living in your body to observing what's happening with your body. Observing. You don't need to do this with your hands. Sorry. So weird. I don't know why I do stuff like that. But, observe your body. Observe how it's responding. Sometimes journaling helps, like documenting things down. I had heart palpitations today. I noticed I felt stressed out for this many hours today. Start writing it down and tracking it. And that's a great place to start too. Where am I at? Where are things going? How can I get back in the driver's seat and direct my system of where I want it to go so that I can get through this time frame in the best way possible and get out the other side being as healthy as possible and not crash and burn after it. Because that's going to be the harder thing, is when people crash and burn after it. So I'll be doing more videos on that later. Yeah. How is this? Is this good? It's a lot, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. So, okay. So that's what I got for you guys. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please let me know if this makes sense to you, or if you're like, okay, part of this makes sense, or, oh yes, when you were talking about the fatigue piece, that's totally me. And I can't build muscle and I'm having a hard time recovering from workouts. Yep. And then of course there's the weight piece of it too. If you've been under chronic stress, it is going to force your system to gain more weight to hold a higher body fat percentage, especially for women. Our bodies are designed to be protective. That's a way that we're protecting ourselves. Again, your body's like, hey, you need help. I know, I'll add 10 pounds. That seems like a good idea. What? Yeah, that's what it's gonna do. Say, 10 pounds, there you go, 15. Oh, there you go, right over here, let's add some more. You need it, you need it. That's what your system's telling me. So you have to, so again, this is where it's not enough to just, go for more walks or get more exercise. Or it's really being kind to your body. Oftentimes when I work with women, when they have a big cortisol issue, again, and depending on what their, results are, I will actually tell them to moderate their activity at first as we're getting started, because too much is actually not going to be helpful. So it's really important that you're listening to your body, that you're paying attention to what's happening and being that observer and noticing, okay, how am I actually feeling? How does my body feel to me? And do I feel like I'm moving in a positive direction or not? And then what can I do about it? So that's what I got for you guys tonight, right now. Let's see. Other resources I have for you. you know, of course, my podcast, The Female Health Solution. And yeah, any other questions that you guys have, please don't hesitate. But again, if you're looking for a next step and you're, you know, wanting to know where to go with it, go in the comments, click that link. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. I am going to do some more videos this week that I've gotten requests on. So if you have requests, you know, send them to me, or you can even post them after this video, because I've gotten some questions on things like, oh, Whole30 or other things like that. So be on the lookout for those things. It'll be fun. All right. We'll see you later.